Hello, hello, hello. Let's get started. Everybody who's coming in, please make your way up and down here. There's a couple more seats over here. Welcome everybody who is here today with us in person, and welcome to everybody who is watching us online right now or on demand some other day. I'm happy to welcome you all to the November edition of the RIA CyberMeetUp. This is a regular thing, and I'm happy to see a lot of regular faces. And also, I'm happy to see a lot of new faces as well. And this is something that we aspire to see new people coming in to listen in on how we are doing. Today, like always, we'll have an hour of some programming and some presentations, and we have a very good like a special presentation today, because we're visited by some of our friends from this project called 𝐶𝐻. They'll tell you all about this project themselves, but it's not like they are here, but because we at the Estonian Information System Authority, we are also part of this project, and I think we're somewhere, yeah, we're right here, like we're actually part of this 𝐶𝐻 project as well. That's the main focus today. But to kick us off, we will have a couple of, first of all, we'll have a regular section that we always try to have here, is a threat landscape update, what's going on in cyberspace. And to do this, we've asked our friend from the Estonian, it's called the IT Center. It's a national IT center. Estonian acronym RIT, and Andreas, a former colleague of mine, is here to tell us a little about what they see in terms of cybersecurity threats. Come on up here, Andreas. Here's a microphone. There's a clicker. Tell us, what is the situation in cyberspace? Microphone right there.
Hi. Yeah, wonderful. Good evening. So yes, my name is Andreas, as mentioned before, and I'm representing Estonian IT Center. I'm the head of SOC over there. So a little bit what RIT or RIT is doing overall is that we are providing government cloud, government workplace, and special solutions. Who are we providing it to? RIT is responsible for government workplace, government cloud, and special solutions, and it is essentially Windows with some software already pre-installed, also alongside with security part. Estonia has several IT houses, and we are also providing it to ministries and administrative areas. A little bit about the numbers. Our service in numbers is around 9,000 workstations, 82 institutions. We are providing 24/7 IT support in 15 different counties. We are having 7+ petabytes of storage, around 1,500 network devices, and 2,800 virtual servers. A little bit about the SOC side. Our whole organization has around 220 people, and in Information Security Department we have 21 people, and in SOC from the 21 is 7 people. What are we doing in SOC? We are responsible for the EDR. Also, we are dealing with the SIEM and SOAR. So, as of right now, we are still using SIEM, but we are moving towards to SOAR in order to make everything automated. Because when the customer base is growing, then it wouldn't be feasible to do it manually or to respond to each event manually. Also, we have two different mail gateways. The reason for that is that we have two versions of Government Workplace. Version 1, which is older, and version 2, which is the new one that we are still building and finishing. And we are also using these benchmarks. Some of the things more that we are doing is vulnerability scanning. We are also doing the software evaluation from the security perspective. What do we allow to be used on these computers and what not from the software side. We are also doing partially web filtering, things that should not be used in these computers are very often turned off from our team. And also we are building an external storage media analyzer. Essentially, if you have a SSD or USB device that you need to use to transfer data, then since the computer's USB ports are closed, you cannot do that without extra device or without extra clearance. So what do we see? From the mail gateway, around 800 emails in isolation daily. Very often, one of the reasons that the emails are going to isolation from our side that we see is that the SPF, 𝐷-MARC, 𝐁𝐴-𝐧𝐝, these words that you have probably heard several times, if not by several hundred times by now, are still not implemented, or if they are implemented by the entities, they are very often wrongly implemented. And in this case, our mail gateways are catching these emails, and you will receive your email sometimes a day later, sometimes a week later. So if your companies that you are working together with are unable to make sure that the SPF, 𝐷-MARC, 𝐁𝐴-𝐧𝐝 are working, then people can expect delays. But besides that, obviously we see spam, we see malware, we see phishing, and besides all of these things, we see that people are still using the government computers as their personal ones, which is a little sad. So if you have been issued a governmental computer, we are also doing monitoring on them. And if you try to visit different kind of websites which you do not require for work, it's more like for your personal time, then it gets blocked and it gets marked. So please don't, we don't want to see that. What do we see from the EDR? We are seeing continuously that the problems are increasing, that the testing of different kind of open doors are increasing continuously. These are statistics from last 30 days. I don't know how much you can see it from there, but initial access attempts are 52. Execution of different kind of programs that are not supposed to be executed, 3,273. Persistence attempts from the system which are not allowed by us, 6,083 attempts. Privilege escalation, 6,800. Defense evasion, 993. Credential access, 85 attempts. Lateral movement, 26 times. Collection, 1,796 attempts. Exfiltration, 599. Command and control trying or attempts, 1,415. Also, resource development, 3 attempts. These numbers are indicative. These have also false positives inside of them. But we are seeing that the numbers are growing and different kind of methods that the attackers are trying to use are growing continuously. A single attacker who are using playbooks or runbooks of their own can do a lot of them already with simple click and run. They are not attacking each organization one by one. Very often they are taking a list and attacking by the list their own runbooks. So yeah, we have to protect And if we are not starting from the simplest thing by implementing SPF, 𝐷mark and 𝐸𝐴𝐚, then it's quite sad, and I'm not sure if the gatherings will help if we are unable to do even from that, or even that. This is it from my side. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you so much. This is very interesting. We have, we'll take one question from the audience, and then you can ask Andreas a little later. Go for a question.
Thanks. You had very nice thousands of different kind of attack techniques like lateral movement and so on. Where did you detect them? Were they kind of like some things that qualified that coming from outside, or are inside your networks whatever 6,000 attempts of privilege escalation and whatever the numbers were?
So this number is correlated from both outside coming in, what our network detection side detects, and also inside. We have also developers who are trying to run things. Sometimes they're trying to run malware to check if our own systems are working, which is, again, if they are doing it without authorization, is a problem. But since we are getting the beacons and information about the beacon was try or attempt was there, we can again go to the user and have a little chat regarding that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more applause for Andreas here. This is the stuff that what we want to deliver to you, our community members, to show you that, you know, the threats are real. There are thousands of this and hundreds of that and another hundreds of those. So just to make sure that everybody is aware that we need to make an effort. We need to make an effort together to do this. How to make that effort, how to do this, and how to get the skills to make that effort. Maybe we'll find out something about that with our next presenter. We have 𝐷𝐉𝐞𝐿 from the Estonian chapter of ISC squared. ISC2, ISC squared 2, right? Okay, ISC2 coming up to tell us something about the Estonian chapter of this organization. Some of you may have heard about this previously, but if not, then 𝐷𝐉𝐿 will tell you about them. Go right ahead. Microphone.
I'll mention that part as well. SC. First of all, I'd like to mention about ISC2. You possibly heard it, especially the first one in the list. The CISSP is the most well-known certification. ISC2 is a long name, International Information System Security Certification Consortium. I did it at one time. That's a global non-profit organization, and Estonia has their own chapter as well for some while, though not much active. That's why I'm here to let you guys know. So ISC2, as you may have heard previously, offers some certifications. The ones that you see, CISSP is the most well-known. CC is the entry-level thing that started 2 years ago. And it is just another way to, let's say, validate the expertise for the cybersecurity professionals. So when it comes to this square and 2 debate, basically last year in August, this new board came to the organization and they changed all brand identity and everything, including the certifications, training, membership requirements, etc. And they changed the name as well, because previously people thought it was hard to pronounce it as ISC square, so they just wanted to make it simpler. So now it's just ISC2 for the last 1 year. ISC2 has over 150 chapters over 50 countries around the world and over 38,000 members. According to the latest statistics, we know that there are over 50 CSSPs in Estonia, but we don't know, we don't have that much members in the chapter. So for those who are there, this is a call for you. Estonian chapter is relatively new. It's established in the end of 2021 and officially registered, as you can see, as a non-profit organization in the Estonian Business Register in 2022. We have not done that much events, a couple of annual or periodical meetings and just some visits to CR14, etc. We are not proud of that. You might have seen these faces, some might be familiar with you, especially Jürgen, because he was the one who was supposed to talk, but he is in Riga, so I'm just a substitute for him. So this is the current team. I'm mentioning it because the end of the term is coming for this board, so that is the most important issue. That is why we are actually having this talk with you. We just want to mention that for being a member in this chapter, you don't have to be an ISC2, sorry, I'm still using the old terms, ISC2 member, but any level of cybersecurity professional from entry to any kind of specialization, mid-level, if you have 20, 30 years of experience, you're invited as well. It's just another community in the town. There are many. Estonia is let's say, community. Estonia has a community-based culture where you can find people and people know each other from different communities. So this is just one another in the town. And there is only one comment there. If you want to be a board member, then you need to be a member of ISC2. So you need to have the certification and you need to have an active membership. Other than that, anyone is welcome to participate. Chapter membership is free in some of the other countries. There are some annual or monthly fees to be a chapter membership. Here, there is no requirement for that. So, as I said, all levels and specializations are welcome. So we will have an annual meeting in the next quarter. And there are two items in the agenda. First one is the board member election. And the second one is the annual roadmap on what to do. And with this meeting, if you want to participate, you can ask about anything about membership to ISC2, certifications, or being a part of the chapter, or you can run for president, basically be a candidate in the election, to be a part of the ISC2 Estonian chapter. And there are many channels that you can access us. You can reach us, basically link all the social media. But I highlighted the email because if you want to participate the upcoming meeting, please send us an email to this address where you can see chapter@isc2estoniachapter.ee. This is a long one. Just drop an email with your first and last name. We will let you know when the annual meeting will happen and where it will happen, so that we can send you an invitation. And for the ones, as I said, already a member of ISC2 who has CSSPs and any other thing, if you would like to be a part of the election, you want to be a candidate, we are waiting for your participation as well. And as I said, it is shorter than 10 minutes. Thank you. I'm pending your questions. And if you have more, I will be here for a short while after all the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Wait. I'll take the privilege of asking the first question.
Okay.
Why should any of us become a member of the ISC2 chapter?
ISC2 is not only a local community, just like we already have a local community here. It also provides the ability to access other chapters, other communities in the overall global network. There are some let's say, conferences or other events that these members are participating. You can also participate voluntary efforts to even to the exams, even to other member-related events. You can actively participate, or you can just come here and get some come to the meetings, get some beer and pizza. That would be a plus as well. That's it.
So no discount on the CISSP?
There are.
Oh, okay.
There are, but they change, so I can neither confirm nor deny the existence. So they change time to time. So
okay. One more question. Maybe somebody from the audience wants to ask a question. If not now, Zafer will be here after this this program is ended. Grab a drink with him and ask him yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another applause, please. All right, we are coming to the how to put this. Let's say main course. Let's say it's the main course. We have with us, we are doing a joint cyber meetup today, basically with our colleagues from this Cybersecurity Excellence Hub in Estonia and South Moravia. That's in Czechia. There's this project, and actually these colleagues from this project have been with us here before. I think like a year ago, a little bit more, where they were talking about some of the tools. One of those tools was this thing that you can see over here, sec-certs, stuff like that. So we have 3 speakers today from this project, where collaboration is being, there's collaboration between Estonian scientists and researchers, the Czech scientists and researchers, private sector, public sector. These guys have been working on a lot of different things, and some of them are ready to be presented. You can just go and go to these websites. But we're gonna talk to you about 3 different items in this project. And for the first one, we're gonna have Pavel come up here to tell you about tabletop exercises. Coming up and tell us what have you been working on, and yeah, let's kick it off.
So, hello everybody. I didn't expect it to be the main part of this event. So my name is Pavel, just call me Pavel, and I will be happy to discuss what I will present today. What we are doing in Brno, we are developing tabletop exercise platform. Most of you most probably heard about tabletops, you participate in the tabletops, but our goal is to go beyond traditional pen and paper tabletop. And we are leveraging almost a decade which we spent developing national CyberEng, huge open source CyberEng, and now we are pushing all the knowledge to do our new challenge tabletops. So tabletops helps communicate, cooperate, coordinate, prepare, and also identify gaps. The similar what the guy presented with the SOC. They are looking for technical problems, we are looking for the process problems, that the people know what to do. So traditional tabletop is on-site, typically using pen and paper or simple apps like Microsoft Office or Google tools. Have a linear progression, so you are going from point 1 to point B, and there are typically limited options how to evaluate it. So most people, after the exercise will finish, the instructors go to the hotel and spend the time, the evening, to evaluate what's happened, and next day they deliver the results. And definitely it's experience for the participants. On the other hand, for many, it's just expensive networking. They participate, they have a tabletop, there's some artificial use case where they present something, they have no clue about the real processes. They just want to demonstrate it's tabletop, so it's fun, it's PR for us that we are doing something to help to build resilience, but it's all. So this is definitely not our goal. Our goal is to go beyond this, and we are from IT. So we want to use IT tools to help us to build next generation technologies and approaches for tabletops. And this is what we call Inject. It's the code name of our project. It's developed in Czech Republic. It's together with the Czech counterpart of RIA. So it's Czech Cybersecurity Information Agency, which is in charge of the cybersecurity in the Czech Republic. And we are closely collaborating with our colleagues on building very successful story of this tabletop platform. So, and they deliver quite a lot of tabletops to various sectors, stakeholders, and things like this in the Czech Republic. And so what's our goal? To provide on-site and remote, so that the people can join the exercise. We want to look at the technologies and also on how to design good tabletop. So not just to put something, but we want to have some learning objectives to have a real impact. When the participants participate in this, we want to adapt the exercise. So it means that we want to evolve, because the exercise is not about that you have a clear path that you go from A to B to C to D, but you can go from A to E and then go back, and etc., etc. And definitely want to deliver the same or better experience. In a nutshell, we want to help the exercise designers and instructors to simplify the design of the exercise and the preparation and delivery, that you can use it in, and that you can scale, and that you can, deliver it in large scale, depending on the target audience. And we want to improve the learning experience so that the people learn something, not just the next neighborhood at the tabletop. So from the participant point of view, what will the platform enable? It's easy website application. So you just need your computer, connect to the website and replace the pen and paper. We have multiple challenging and engaging scenarios. Our goal is to work with domain experts, to design tabletops with people which really understand the domain, not just YouTube guys who have some nice ideas but never worked in SOC. For instance, because we have background in security teams, so we are designing tabletop for cybersecurity teams how to perform incident handling. And we want to provide to participants personalized feedback, that they will learn what they have done the right way and the wrong way. If you are instructor, what we provide is that we automate most of the work for you. So for instance, yesterday I delivered a tabletop at Caltech for maybe 20 people, 5 teams. And I was capable to deliver it on my own because the platform helped me to handle most of the tasks were automated. I received the platform provided automated responses to the participants. We see everything what the trainees are doing. So we see if someone is struggling and not moving forward, because our goal is that the participants will really finish the tabletop, not to stop on the task number 1 and after 2 hours leave it disappointed and never come to the next tabletop. And also we want to help to simplify the exercise management, because if you organize any event, you know that you need the emails, you need to attack the people, etc. And then you need to push them in the platform or something like this if you are using these tools. From the designer point of view, because we want also to support the people who design the tabletops to convert from pen and paper to something which is technology-based, that you can write the scenarios and reuse components. So we run a GitLab repository to store the scenarios, such way you can reuse the components. On the other hand, a lot of the tabletop people have no technical background. So they are people from non-IT universities and faculties, and they are asking, okay, for support to have a tabletop designer, a drag and drop application to put all these pieces together and just to provide some extra details. And what the platform supports, actually it's vehicle. So it's not closely built for one use case. It's vehicle, and it's up to you what's your tabletop goal. So we have tabletops where we have the target audience, the security teams for incident handling. We closely collaborate with the people from legal, that they want to have a tabletop which will train the people from law how to progress according various regulations and things like this. So we can move from technical to process training. So what's very important, we are not startup, I'm not selling any technology here, I'm not stealing your business, so we are researchers, and we like that our tools are used. So the tool is available as open source, so you can scan the code and go to our website. You can download it. It's quite easy to install, and it's also resource savvy. It's not like if you are building CyberRange where you need to build dedicated data center and you need a lot of engineers to run the entire infrastructure and you have to pay a huge electricity bill. No, it's just one virtual machine based on containers which you will run in any ordinary server, and you can deliver such nice exercise. It has a huge potential to deliver next generation tabletop, or at least how the things could be done. And you can definitely influence it, because what we are looking for are the early adopters, the people which are interested in this topic, just to discuss, okay, how should we design the tabletop? What should be the goals of the tabletop? How the platform should help us to make better tabletop and to scale it to deliver it for tens, hundreds of participants. So it's all from my side.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So anybody can download this and start up and try to, like tweak it to their own needs.
Exactly.
Cool. Any questions from the audience? There is over there. You already got your question round, but right.
Thank you for the presentation. How do you measure that whether your solution creates value for the user? What are the key performance indicators in your eyes?
Good question. From our side, what we have seen, that the people start to think in different way how they design tabletops. So in the past, they just used some Google apps and they tried, okay, let's have a nice health sector tabletop exercise. And now they can start, okay, we have think, okay, who is the audience, how it will improve the things. So this is what we have seen as a real impact where it helps the people. The next thing is that we can scale. You can have 50 people on the tabletop. Typically, what we are doing with our tabletops, we are using it in our cybersecurity classes where we train the incident handlers, and we have 50, 60 people, and we have to deliver tabletop for 60 people. And we have to handle it with a small amount of instructors and provide feedback after the exercise. So these are some of, where we see the impact.
Okay, thank you very much. You can ask your question later on because he will be sticking around. Thank you so much. Another applause, please. We will continue with our, what did I say, main course, right? So chess will continue. My good friend Masaryk will come up here and tell us a little bit about the development of this tool called sec-certs, which we've been introducing here on this stage.
Yeah, 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, 1.5 years ago. So take it away.
Great, thanks a lot. I actually feel sorry for Lauri and people there in that corner because I'll be talking about sex here a lot today. Yeah, and not just ordinary sex, it will be sec-certs. And before we get right to the business, question to understand for me, who is in the audience? Can you please raise your hand if you know roughly what is it when I say common criteria? Common criteria. If you know what it is, raise your hand, please. Thanks a lot. Very much appreciated. For the rest of you, common criteria is a scheme and ecosystem actually, allowing for certification of security for products and systems. It's a worldwide scheme with about 6,000 products certified. And many purchases done by governments, important institutions like the banks and so on, are driven by requirements. What kind of level of certification is it to be achieved through common criteria? And while we presented the tool itself to you 1.5 years ago, I'm going to show you a follow-up presentation. So who has been here 1.5 years ago and has seen sec-certs? What it is? Raise your hand, please, now. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. I will try not to bore you. And for the rest, I will hope that the presentation will flow as good as it can. Where we got into thinking of sec-certs, as the 3 people who raised the hand will probably recall, was actually an event that impacted Estonia a lot. Slovakia as well, actually, and a few other countries around Europe. That was a vulnerability in a chip or firmware in a chip produced by a German company I shall not name. And we were wondering then how many products, how many systems worldwide are impacted. At that time we thought of tens of millions. Later we raised the bar to hundreds of millions. And ultimately we figured out it was over 1 billion of products and systems worldwide. But the second question that we had was how many types of systems got influenced by this vulnerability. And we knew that this vulnerability is in, laser pointer is there? Yeah. Is in a product that can be found under this certification issued by the German BSI. Nice. So we know one type of product. But if you know the game, you may be aware that other products may use that certified product as a component. And you will not know until you know what other security certificate to open, to look into that certificate, is it using the other certificate as a component or not? And the producers of the certification documents, namely the certificates themselves, will make this game very entertaining for you, extremely entertaining. Proper tools like very enhanced and sophisticated Control-C and Control-V to copy the certificate string name is a tool that many of the producers of the certificates have not apparently used when producing the certificate. So even the certificate indices themselves are wrong. And you can have a lot of fun when traversing the certification documents. So here we have an example. We know that 3 other products use the product that was found vulnerable. And of course, other products may use these products that have been impacted. And this vulnerability impacted a lot of products, as I told you. Can you raise your hand if you believe, today is 14th of November, that actually at least 14 products have been impacted by this vulnerability? Raise your hand if you believe it was at least 14 products. Raise your hand, please. Who believes in that? Not too many. So, for those who believe that it indeed was. And let me double the number. Was it 28 certified products where the certification costs hundreds of thousands euros or dollars? Dozens of man-months of skilled experts are involved in the certification. Who believes that at least 28 products, types of products, were impacted? Raise your hand. Okay, most people who believed in the 14 believe also in the 28. I will share with you the answer in a few moments. When you map these dependencies, you get a graph of this type. Where you see a cluster, you see that a product has been used by, here, 1.5 dozen other products as a component, most likely. Where you see a chain, like this one is using this one is using this, and so on and so forth. And I will tell you now briefly a story how we built this graph and what investigations of such a graph can bring. Sec-certs on its own can provide also interesting answers to questions of this type. These questions we pulled one of our industry partners, the company Red Hat, that is part of the ČEZ consortium. And if you are wondering, when purchasing things or going to produce things that deserve proper security certification, that are the types of questions that you will be asking yourself or the ecosystem around you. So what do? We suck all security certification documents that are publicly available, not only from the common criteria ecosystem that I'm focusing on today, but also from the FIPS 140 ecosystem. We put them together with all available certification artifacts, and we enable you to use our tool in 3 different ways. You can use it as a website. And I'll ask Peter to pass around. He's passing around the various leaflets and other things that Red Hat produced for us. Thanks a lot to them. Some of them you can stick wherever you want. The others you can use as reminders of what sec-certs is good for. You can use it as a web page, as I mentioned. You can just take the data that we clean and prepare for you in the JSON format. Or you can upload your thing to your computers, and on-premise you can use this data together with proprietary data that you have from your analysis or shared with the companies who do not prefer to have all their data public. And you can use them to analyze the dependencies between the certified products. You can involve the thing that I see as one of the most beneficial things about the tool, and that is the mapping to the vulnerability data. You can map the vulnerabilities that are being discovered, and you can see how they impact your ecosystem of products. Because if you buy 2 products, you deploy them in your infrastructure, thanks to sec-certs, you may be now aware that you should not watch only for vulnerabilities of these 3 products, but maybe 50 others. So, the users of sec-certs ultimately can come from various different angles of the business. Owners of the devices, or people who consider that they will be purchasing device A versus device B. It can be the vendors of certified products, obviously, and I have shared with you few typical questions that like software development companies like Red Hat have, and how they discover things with them using sec-certs. It is a useful tool, obviously, for the certification bodies. It is a useful tool also for the certification labs who undertake the core of the effort in certification. Last but not least, it can be the government agencies and large corporations who will most likely prefer using sec-certs not through the web interface but on-premise. And we should not forget the general public, the curious researchers, people who care what they are buying, what their government is buying, and can have many questions where sec-certs can help. What kind of insights you can get into this ecosystem thanks to sec-certs? You can see, for example, on this graph, producers of certificates in terms of the national bodies. Here you have national bodies who produce certificates, and here you have national bodies who produce other certificates where a product certified here consumes a certificate or product. Typically, the product on the left is a component of the product on the right. And you can see how some countries are less, some countries are more open to use and to depend on certified products of other countries. You can observe how countries are active in certifying secure products. You can pick the countries of your choice, and you can monitor how active they are in the certification under the common criteria scheme. You can see and you can follow for yourself what is the average level of certification. The higher level, the higher assurance level, the levels go up to 7 for those who are not aware of common criteria system, the better, the more secure, the more rigorous the investigation of the product was. And you can see, for example, that the smart card ecosystem under the orange line here goes for higher levels, more rigorous scrutiny than the rest of the products on average. You can follow various historical trends. However, I promised to speak to you about the graph and the references. Beyond the formal definition, what we understand with graph, and I believe the understanding here was actually explained with the first figure, one product as a component is used by another product. What may be interesting is the last line of this slide. 6,000 products in the ecosystem, 6,000 certificates, and 3,000 relations. Here you have an example what kind of relations can be found within a certificate. We have the security certificate that speaks in a simplified language about recertification based on the other certificate or using underlying integrated circuit as certified under that green highlighted security certificate. So we are mapping exactly these references. We are checking whether a certificate is a predecessor or the product is a predecessor of a newly certified product, or whether there is a component reused in the new certificate, the new product. We actually went to classify the dependencies into more categories, and that is not important for the moment. What is interesting observation is that 3/4 of the references are the true dependencies between products. So 3/4 of the 3,000 plus references mean one product depends on another product. You can observe various things how smart card ecosystem in terms of security certification really goes different way than the rest of the security certified products. And at the end of my presentation, let me share with you few highlights. Top 10 products are used in 16% of the smart cards certified under common criteria. And to share with you the number that I promised before, the ROCA vulnerability impacted over 50 different products certified under common criteria. So if you are on the dark side, sec-certs is also useful. You can identify the low-hanging fruit, the juicy things that when they fail will impact the ecosystem really, really badly. And all that is possible using the sec-certs tool that I had pleasure to present to you here today, that was supported and is being developed under the CHESS project and started actually within the network security pilot CyberSec for Europe and attracting a lot of support from the industry in particular. We are extremely thankful to Red Hat. Thank you very much for your attention.
That was a good explanation of how our ID card, this chip basically is this is what we're talking about.
And you know about that thanks to sex.
Yes.
Erts.
Thanks to sec-certs. Yeah, right. So let's have a question. Let's have a question from the audience now, and then obviously a lot of more questions over drinks later. Does anybody have a question right now from the audience? Yes.
So what has been the usage of your tool? Do you kind of have some positive use cases that users who have been using the sec-certs for something, or what is kind of I don't know, how many people are using it monthly or yearly? Or
the tool is openly available, so we are not aware how many people or how many companies are using it. And the positive cases was actually the type of the questions that I mentioned that we pulled out of Red Hat. We are considering whether this product that we are releasing should be security certified. So let me check for similar products. How do they fare under different certification bodies or even labs? Who is able to certify this type of product, let's say database or operating system? Who is able to do it in 3 months? Who needs 6 months? What average level of certification do my competitors go for? Are they happy with ELA 3, or do all of them go for 4 and higher? These type of questions.
All right, thank you very much right now. Let's give another round of applause.
Thanks a lot, and I'll be around.
Before I give the word to our next presenter, I just want to highlight one aspect of this presentation about this tool. It baffled me when I first heard about this, that this sort of like machine-to-machine compatibility wasn't there. That the certificates are meant to be read by humans for some reason, and they're prepared by humans, obviously, everything is. But this is that there is no way to actually look for this these interlinked questions before this, and this was something that I was like, what? How is this possible? And it really shows that thank you to the people in the research community for taking the time to actually putting their effort into making things more automated and better for everybody who actually needs to do these certifications and check for these certifications all around. All right. Thank you again. We'll talk about this later over drinks. But before we go for that, there is one more presenter. And 𝐸LIZAVETA is going to come up and talk to us about, well, Nikita's there too, but she's going to come up and talk to us about this hype word, buzzword, post-quantum. Post-quantum cryptography. Everybody loves it. Everybody, nobody knows how to do it. But obviously, fortunately, we have some people who are actual experts in the room. So take it away.
Hello. So my name is 𝐸LIZAVETA, and I'm from Cybernetica. I'm junior researcher, and one of my research areas is post-quantum cryptography. Before I jump into the whole presentation, I just wanted to ask how many people actually have heard something about post-quantum cryptography? Raise your hands. Wow, that's surprisingly big amount, okay. So I still start with some sort of a recap of what post-quantum cryptography is. So there are public key cryptographic algorithms that are there in many of the systems, like digital signatures, RSA, ECDSA, encryption, and key establishment. And many of those, well, most of those public key crypto systems that are used nowadays are vulnerable to quantum computer attacks. It appears that quantum computer can solve certain mathematical problems, and those mathematical problems were used to build on those cryptographic algorithms. So there is a need to switch to something secure against quantum computers, and that is the post-quantum cryptography. So post-quantum cryptographic algorithms are the ones that work on our classical computers, our regular computers, but are secure against attacks of both classical adversaries and quantum adversaries. And there is really big point of confusion between the post-quantum cryptography and quantum cryptography, and I want to mention it one more time, that those are two different, completely different things. So post-quantum cryptography offers us really various range of primitives, digital signatures, encryption, key establishment, zero-knowledge proof, commitment schemes, and many, many more other esoteric cryptographic stuff. It works on our regular computers, and its security is based on also mathematical problems, but those ones are not yet solved by quantum algorithms. Whereas the quantum cryptography, with like the most common example being quantum key distribution, provides really limited capabilities. So as the name suggests, quantum key distribution is for key distribution, just the key establishment and nothing more. And it requires some special quantum devices to actually set up the whole communication. And there is a big problem to run this whole thing in larger distances because it requires some trusted nodes. And its security relies on fundamental principles of quantum mechanics. But yeah, it offers really not wide range of capabilities. And this talk will be about post-quantum cryptography, not the quantum cryptography. So at this point, the common question is, well, okay, when we expect this this big quantum computer that is able to break all our cryptography, and of course there is no any straightforward answer on where this like time X is. But I like to bring this picture here. This is taken from the report, Quantum Threat Timeline Report, where they asked many of the experts in quantum computing to estimate what is the likelihood of having quantum computer powerful enough to be able to break 2048-bit RSA key in less than 24 hours. And the very important thing there, I'll point to it. I'm not sure if it works, but okay. So the middle one here, 15 years, this is where more than 50% of respondents say that there is more than 50% chance to have this large quantum computer available. So the common kind of line where we really should start worrying about it is 15 years. And so what is the current status, like how far we are in the whole migration process and the post-quantum cryptography in general? So luckily this year we have the standards prepared by NIST for one key encapsulation scheme that was called Crystal Kyber. Now in standard it is ML-CHEM, stands for Modular Lattice Key Encapsulation Mechanism. And also we have a bunch of signatures. So the first two crystals, the lithium and Sphinx, are also now FIPS standards. One is based on lattices, one is based on hashes. One is smaller, than is bigger, but more like thoroughly secure. Then soon, hopefully, we will have one more standard, Falcon. NIST promised to do that, but for some reason, we do not see the drafts yet. And as a separate to the NIST post-quantum competition, there was a separate kind of line of research where they wanted to standardize something that is called stateful hash-based signatures, and this is what the very last line of the table corresponds to. So in this document, they have standardized two stateful hash-based signatures that are also secure against quantum computer attacks. But as you may notice from this table, in the family column, we only see lattices and hashes. So lattices, this is just like the mathematical primitive that underlies the construction. Not really big variability, right? But in the actual post-quantum cryptography zoo is much larger. We have not only lattices and hashes, we also have many other schemes. And this is the reason of why NIST is doing additional rounds of like competition for the signatures and key establishment to select more schemes to have like more variability in math behind the cryptographic algorithms. So, and there you can see code-based schemes. One of the most famous one is the 𝐷𝐸𝐻 encryption scheme that dates back to when RSA was created, basically. Then we have multivariate schemes. One of those multivariate schemes actually got almost standardized as a signature scheme, but then it appeared to be broken. That was called Rainbow. And then we have also a bunch of isogeny-based schemes. One of the key encapsulation mechanisms was broken. And then now in the additional round of signatures, there is a isogeny-based signature scheme. And now to the interesting part. So we have those standards available, let's start implementing, but then the caveat is that we needed to switch to different math, and it turns out that we can no longer provide so efficient algorithms. Well, the algorithms themselves are quite efficient in terms of like encryption, decryption, verification, and signing, but the keys and the signatures and the ciphertexts are now much, much larger. So in this table, you can see the size comparison between the different signature schemes. Those all correspond to the classical, the same classical level of security, not quantum. And well, you see that all those signatures have much larger signatures and the keys as well. And now, yesterday, NIST published one more interesting document. So I updated slides to kind of introduce what they have told us. So this is kind of an update of what NIST is doing, what are their next steps, and what to wait from them. So the document is linked. You can look at it later. But like the most important points, they selected the date of the year 2033 when all the systems should be migrated to post-quantum cryptography. And in their standards and documentation, they plan to provide support for something that is called hybrid techniques, which is basically a combination of post-quantum cryptography and our classical cryptography to ease the migration process. So when we will be migrating from our classical cryptography to post-quantum cryptography, it is not really good to start using post-quantum cryptography standalone. So for the migration, it is advised to use both schemes until we are sure in the security and no side channel vulnerabilities, etc. So NIST plans to tell how to do those hybrid techniques for the key establishment and signatures, so we would easily migrate our systems. Also, they mentioned a couple of times those harvest now, decrypt later types of attacks, and that those are the primary threat and the driver for the urgency of migration to post-quantum cryptography. And those attacks mean basically that adversary can now listen to communication, save all your ciphertext, and then later in 15 years, when the large enough quantum computer will be there, just break the keys, decrypt, and learn all your messages. And in their kind of transition timeline, they have 2 stages. One is called deprecation and then disallowance. So during the deprecation stage, they say that you can still use traditional cryptography, but like you know that this is not secure, so this is your own risk to use pre-quantum cryptography. And then later stage is disallowance, when it is prohibited to use pre-quantum, like classical cryptography, in the new applications. And those are 2 tables about the when it will be not allowed to use finite field and elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman and RSA anymore. This is for key establishment. And as I mentioned before, this is like the year 2035 when those primitives will be disallowed to use. And similar picture is for the signature schemes. Those ECDSA, Edwards DSA, and RSA are just ones that are standardized by NIST, but the other schemes that are there that are also based on factorization or discrete logarithm, they are of course also insecure. So, and where we are now at the whole migration process, I did this picture at the beginning of this week. So the Cloudflare has this tool where you can do like different graphs about what is happening on the network. And so this picture shows the share of HTTP requests to Cloudflare that are encrypted with post-quantum cryptography, meaning that there is a basically hybrid key establishment happening, Kyber plus elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman. So the key that is established there is secured with the post-quantum cryptography. And for now, that percent is 17.5. And that being said, Cloudflare is one of the companies that actually started this whole migration process and research of post-quantum cryptography very early, trying to introduce the post-quantum support to their services. And I also kind of encourage at this point to look at their blog. They have like a lot of blog posts about post-quantum cryptography where everything is really beautifully explained. And here I have some other examples of where do we see post-quantum cryptography being deployed right now. In 2023, Signal added the support of this hybrid key establishment, meaning running elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman together with Kyber to establish the key and encrypt the communication. In the beginning of this year, Apple also joined in, announcing that they will be adding support of post-quantum cryptography to the iMessage. If I remember correctly, they promised by the end of this year, but I'm not sure if this is happening. But they also wanted to add the hybrid of 𝐕𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐞𝐤 plus 𝐁𝐴. And Google was also very active in this whole post-quantum research and transition. And since version April of this year, they have this hybrid key establishment there in Google Chrome by default. And in the latest update that was the week ago or this week, like from the latest version of Chrome, they added support of not like 𝐁𝐴, but like actual standard that there is in NIST ML-Chem. They're pretty similar, but like there are some caveats and tricks. But why it is really important to perform this migration in time? As I mentioned before, there are those harvest now, decrypt later attacks, and this is why we see in most of the examples that I brought, people are trying to do hybrid key establishment. In this way, we have keys that are established with post-quantum schemes, and then these are protected against those harvest now and decrypt later kind of attacks. So this is like really important threat, and actually there is nothing other than using post-quantum cryptography to establish connection to protect against those attacks. And other important stuff is that the whole migration process is not really easy thing to do. This is not just to take some Lego piece and then replace with another Lego piece. Does not work this way because the algorithms themselves are quite different from the ones that that we are using nowadays in terms of the sizes and sometimes runtime, and the math behind the algorithms is much more complicated. So it may be prone to side channel attacks, etc. And one of the like real-world examples about the challenges of the migration process is that, as I mentioned, from the spring of this year, hybrid key establishment is enabled by default in Google Chrome. And when this happened, some servers just stopped working. And why is that? Well, everybody was kind of prepared that those messages, the ciphertexts that are encrypted with post-quantum cryptography are larger. But, well, to know something does not mean that you are actually like prepared for this. So the problem was that the 𝐁𝐴 ciphertext just did not fit to single client hello packet. And well, the simple solution was actually that you needed to call several times this read to like read all the packets, reconstruct the ciphertext to be able to decrypt it and like establish the connection. Seems like pretty simple thing, but actually it appeared that in some of the servers, this read function was called just once, so it was able to read just part of the ciphertext, was not able to decrypt the ciphertext, was not able to establish the connection. And in most of the, well, there is the whole web page that explaining what was happening there. You can read it in more details. The fun thing is that in most of the forums where like this started happening and people started like complaining and kind of discussing what to do, the simplest solution was kind of just disable post-quantum cryptography and that's it. But well, disabling post-quantum cryptography now is, well, okay, that can be done, arguably, but okay, but in future it just will not work. And well, speaking about the future, so in these examples, we can see that there has been really significant effort of doing hybrid key establishment, but there is not much happening with the digital signatures, and this is partly because like the migration of digital signatures seems to be less urgent, because there is not like harvest now, decrypt later kind of attacks for the signature schemes, because signatures are there for different purposes. But still, researchers are kind of actively doing the research, but not much of like actual migration to post-quantum signatures is happening. And as I mentioned before, there are additional rounds run by NIST to select more signature schemes. and additional key establishment mechanisms, just to be not dependent on one math, on lattices. And I also linked here a paper that we have written this year and presented at CyberCon about the obstacles of post-quantum cryptography migration in Estonia. Because right now what I was talking about, this is mostly like the basic usage of cryptography, just digital signatures and key establishment. But since we're living in Estonia, you know that we're using cryptography in like much more exquisite cryptography in many other solutions, like iVoting and Smart ID. And those systems are even much more complicated to kind of migrate to post-quantum cryptography. So there is a lot of work ahead, and I hope that we will migrate to post-quantum cryptography in time. That's it from me.
That was great. I mean, like I got a lot smarter about like what the actual threat in this is. So to put it into context, everything needs to be, you know, transitioned to post-quantum cryptography. Everybody's work stuff needs to do this, and yeah, that's why this is not going to be an easy one. Let's take one question from the audience, and then we can go. There's a question right there.
Thank you very much for the talk. I have the question, what are the typical reasons why not to adopt post-quantum cryptography? What are you hearing? Why the people are saying we will not do that because of X?
That it seems to be like people do not see actually urgency, because in this picture that I showed, it says like 15 years, and 15 years this is like really far away. And most people think that, well, in 15 years it will no longer be my problem, kind of. So this is not my problem now, because nothing is happening now. And in 15 years there will be somewhere like other people responsible for this stuff. So it will be their problem, not my problem. Yeah, I think that's the reason.
So a good example is, would you want somebody to know who you voted for in 15 years? Would you? Is it okay for somebody to actually know who you voted for in 15 years? Depends on who's president. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Another round of applause, please. With this, we conclude today's Cyber Meetup with RIA and ČES working together. Thank you everybody who's been watching us online and everybody who's watching us on demand. Everybody take a drink, there's some more food, and if you're done here, there's a lot of bars and pubs out there where you can find times and places for your friends to go after this as well. Thank you again. Before we go, one thing. Next time, we're gonna come together one more time this year. It's going to be in December. One big change. In December, we're not going to be here on a Thursday. We're gonna do it on a Wednesday. It's going to be a very, very difficult thing for you to remember, I understand. But it's not gonna be a Thursday, it's gonna be a Wednesday. Wednesday, December 11th. So mark it up in your calendars everywhere you can. Obviously, we'll be sending out the invites and everything like that, but it's on a Wednesday that next time. Wednesday. All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.